Sunday to you. Welcome to your news briefing for today, Sunday, August 7th, 2022. My name is Joshua Van Slykeman, and let's get to the news in details. Vice President Bharat Jagdi, who has been calling the shots in the oil and gas sector, has accepted that the lopsided oil contract signed with ExxonMobil will have to be renegotiated in the future, as the deal is far from the picture being painted by independent experts such as Rystad Energy and the oil giant itself. He made those remarks on Saturday while addressing hundreds of residents at the outreach hosted at Potentia on the west bank of Demerara. Rystad Energy, a Norwegian-based independent group, has since admitted through its senior vice president and the head of the Latin America and the Caribbean, Shireen Parker, that ExxonMobil is among its clients. Nonetheless, Jagdia pointed out that while he noticed in the daily newspaper swinging from one end and on the other terms of the policy making, it is obviously that the administration simply cannot succumb to such strategies, especially since the quote-unquote big goal is long-term development, however hard it is. He went on to explain that while Kaieteur News and a quote-unquote few others believe that the contract is the worst in the world, this too is simply not true. Jagdi did not bother to tell the gathering which other contract exists that only benefits oil companies rather than countries, but noted that the administration stands in the middle where the deal is concerned. Meanwhile, Guyanese stakeholders from both government and private sector collectively demonstrated on Friday last that their desire to truly understand the extent to which the nation will benefit from its oil resources shall not be superficial exercise. This much was clear to Norwegian company called Rystad Energy, which sought to share with citizens, particularly those from the business community, its calculations of how much money is forecasted will be earned from its oil barrels in the ExxonMobil-led Stabroek Block. Citing the imperial damage being caused by natural gas flaring, former head of the Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Vincent Adams, has calculated that the U.S. oil giant ExxonMobil has been pocketing $35 on every dollar it pays to the regulator as a fine from the harmful activity. He shared the revelation in which he explained that the company's subsidiary and operator of the Stabroek Block Esso had rampantly flared associated gas at the Liza 1 field for close to 3 years, rather than cut back on the number of barrels being produced. It must be noted that every barrel of oil pumped also contains a fraction of gas. Meanwhile, Gaisuco CEO Sesnarayan Singh is assuring citizens that sugar will be available in the country, even as the company is unable to produce the requisite amounts needed to satisfy both its local and foreign export markets. Singh told Kaieteur News on Thursday that Ghana will have priority in accessing sugar as talks of an extended commodity shortage rages on. Singh said that as for the second crop, the company will be producing over 40,000 metric tons of sugar. However, based on the existing export contract commitments and estimated amount of sugar needed for local consumption, the production will be inadequate. To have the Criminal Investigation Department effectively carry out its function, the Ministry of Home Affairs is currently seeking a contractor to build a new headquarters for the department. The particulars of the tender note that bidding will be conducted through the National Competitive Bidding Process specified in the Procurement Act 2003, and the ministry stated that bids for the project are slated to open on August 16, 2022 at the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board. Meanwhile, government is gearing to take back 5,000 acres of state land on the west bank of Demerara, including a 700-acre plot at Wales, which is currently in the possession of a private coconut company. The 700-acre plot was reportedly obtained by Amazonia Expert Services in 2019. We understand that it was part of the closed Wales Sugar Estate, and its principal, former executive of the Caribbean Agriculture Research and Development Institute, Dr. Arjun Chesney, has stated that the land will be used to produce coconut water as well as dried and grated coconut for the export market. It was announced that the Dominican Republic was being eyed as a primary target. The deepening cost of living crisis here can be cured with more revenues coming in from Guyana's on Guyana's oil and gas industry. But this can only be had if the combined opposition and government demand adjustments in the lopsided contract that this country signed with ExxonMobil. Kaieteur News publisher Mr. Glenn Ladd has said. Globally, citizens have been reeling from the high cost of living caused by the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. In Guyana, citizens have been hit by shortages in several food items, as well as hike in prices. The government's response thus far has been lackluster, and the opposition has been agitating for the comprehensive program to tackle the problem. And finally, at this time, oil companies are recording massive profits due to the high oil prices stemming from the imbalance in the supply and demand chain. Stakeholders are nonetheless holding operators responsible for deliberately keeping production low while making quote-unquote excessive and immoral profits, described by Secretary General of the United Nations Antonio Guterres, when he called out fossil fuel companies for making the gains on the back of vulnerable people. Canadian environmentalists have also lashed out at big oil companies for its process of making their hefty gains. In an opinion piece published in the UK Guardian, Berman accused oil companies of working against the transition to renewables and deliberately keeping production down while making large sums of money off of the poor. And that's the news to the moment.